Hi, this is Derek Hi from LearnByBlogging.com. Today I have a review of a book called Just Kids by Patti Smith. You know, the famous Patti Smith, the singer. And I think she wrote this book about her relationship with a young boy. That's why they call it Just Kids. This young man called Robert Mender Mapplethorpe. That's the boy's name. So, very interesting book, and what a great love story for these two young kids with great passions for arts and poems and music. And my takeaway from the memoir is that when she started out in New York City, it was very poor, and she was very hungry all the time. So being a true artist starting out could be a very trial experience, as in the case. And Patti Smith herself was homeless for a while and was constantly hungry and directionless. And yet her passion for art, poems, and music really kept her going, something very admirable. And then she met Robert in the bookstore when she bumped into him, and she was trying to escape from the advances of a date, and that's when their relationship started. And her love for Robert Mapplethorpe, Robert, I'm going to call him Robert, read like a love story, despite Robert's inclination toward a later time toward homosexuality later in life, and of course she didn't know about his sexual orientation, and he didn't know anything about his own sexual orientation in the beginning either. So pregnant at 19, Patti Smith gave her daughter up for adoption, and then leave town. And to me that is extremely brave, especially in that era. Maybe that's kind of the hippie era. And in her dire financial situation, she saved all the money, enough money to travel to France and stay for a month, kind of wander around in the city, appreciating arts, museums, and all that. That really takes determination and passion. Really passion for arts and culture of France. And though she frequently encountered people using drugs and speed, she stayed pretty much clean until she started using marijuana, a mild form of kind of starting her to kickstart her creativity, I guess. But she kept most of the time clean, free of drugs, which is quite admirable. And then her low, I listened to this book, the audiobook, and her low monotone voice in the audiobook really takes some time to get used to. But at the end, you kind of get used to it pretty fast. And at the end, you kind of get used to it. And then it was almost poetic to have somebody kind of talk to you like that. In the book, there's a description of the New York art scenes, the famous people, the famous people and the fame-searching people in and out of Chelsea Hotel. And so all make a very interesting backdrop of the story. And the famous people including Jimi Hendrix and a few others that I don't know anything about. And in the beginning, this is kind of strange because in the beginning I never sensed that she was musically talented, except for listening to the music and hanging out with the famous singers like Jimi Hendrix. And I kept looking for clue that she actually discovered her talent later in life. But all along, her love for drawings, poems, and lyrics seems to exceed her love for singing or songwriting. That's kind of what I take out of it. Fortunately, she's got a good voice, or reasonably good voice. I really don't appreciate. I really don't not into her voice, but seems to be okay. She got a good voice, musically talented after all, and maybe she tried to minimize her singing talent in the book. So it seems to me that she really didn't describe how she actually acquired the talent. Maybe she's just born with it. Because of the book, I Googled and brushed up on all the characters mentioned in the book. Patti Smith songs and poems, including her complete book, which I borrowed from the library as well. This is a complete book, all her lyrics that she wrote, all the songs lyrics, and all the entire book has all the poems in them. Maybe really want to write some poems, and maybe someday I will. I particularly like the farewell paragraph that she wrote at the end of the book. Here goes. I stood there and looked at him, so peaceful, like an ancient child. He opened his eyes and smiled. Back so soon? And then again, go to sleep. So my last image was the first. She happened to be when I believe that's one of the first scenes that one of the first encounter with Robert. So my last image was the first. And sleeping youth, cloaked in light, who opened his eyes with a smile of recognition for someone who had never been a stranger. So this kind of like a hero's journey, gonna come around eventually. It was started out like that, and then gonna come together at the end, very similar to how we started it. So this whole book is about her relationship with Robert Mapplethorpe, who died, I believe, back in 1980 something, of AIDS, and I think Robert boyfriend also died of AIDS. But overall, when you can adore someone through the hard time and happy time, and you really have the love of your life, it's really a relationship for anybody to envy. And it's great that Robert made this book and the stories, his dying wish. Before he died, he said, please write about our story. So here we go. What a treat for all of us who read the book. So that's all I have about my review of this book, Just Kiss, Patti Smith. Interesting read if you're into romantic and true story indeed, also of Patti Smith and Robert Mapplethorpe. So hope that you enjoyed that review, and I'll see you next time. Bye now.